Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and today we're talking about Summer Games Fest because I just watched it. It just ended a second ago, and the closeout game was Resident Evil 9, so of course we're going to start by talking about that, but I gotta say that I'm sort of 50-50. I halfway loved the entirety of Summer Games Fest, and I halfway hated it, and I almost feel like every year I talk about Summer Games Fest and how they need to tighten it up. There is so much random ads, commercials, random fluff and filler, free-to-play games, DLC. There was like a Wu-Tang game. There were like 4 separate Lego games. I don't care about any of those. I don't care about the new season of Fortnite. I know that's the stuff that pays the bills, but it makes it where the opening 30 minutes was 10 out of 10. Then you had like literally an hour of the most boring, paint dry inducing terrible games, and then it ends with like 10 minutes of good games. Let's talk about the good games and just about how this presentation, it was a bad one, but it was worth it for Resident Evil. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, I want to start with stuff that I was taking a look at Twitter during this because one of the weirdest things they did is about 80% through the show, Capcom came out and said, hey, we know you all care about Resident Evil 9. Wait just a little bit longer. Everybody was so confused because this is extremely expensive. It's like being at Summer Games Fest, it's not free. It costs something like $80,000 a minute. And that's the real number that's been leaked. So a lot of people are like, bro, what are we doing here? Well, it turns out what we're doing here is Resident Evil Requiem. This is RE9. It takes place in bombed out Raccoon City. But more than that, it's Alyssa Ashcroft's daughter. Like, in case you didn't know, sort of what kicked off the entire events of Resident Evil was actually this investigative reporter who gets contacted by a person working at Umbrella who's an Ashcroft. And it basically kind of let the RPD know, which let STARS know. It basically started the entirety of the Spencer estate, the original lab leaks. This lady is directly involved in the entire beginning of it. And they send her daughter, who's now a modern day detective in the FBI, to investigate where things went down, to go to Raccoon City. Oh my God. I am a Resident Evil super fan. I almost wish that they had started with this. Obviously, it's tradition to have one more thing. You end it with your big banger. I do kind of wish, though, that as crazy as this is, this should have just started things off so the internet would just explode. But this thing is that I find it funny that, honestly, the big problem with these games is that there's just so much noise like this. Again, I think it's great for Jeff to show off all these new games and original games. There are some cool games, but there's so many that just all blur together because they all look kind of samey. This guy totally nailed it. And I do think this is the big issue. I saw people talking about the fact that there was like 12 separate Souls-likes shown today. And a lot of them did look good, but so many dark, gritty, sort of strategic, die a bunch of times against the boss to figure it out kind of methodology. As cool as that stuff is, it's difficult for the human brain to memorize 25 separate games that are just called The Abyss, Blood on Sand, The Kicker. Like, that's just too much. I feel like if they showed 20 games instead of 50 games, you could really highlight them better. But let me talk about, I did find it, so many people are literally like, bro, this is just too damn long. Okay, let's start to actually talk about the games, the goods and the bad. Some of the ones that stick in my mind the most. So there were rumors that Square Enix was going to be here. It was here to reveal, honestly, a game that looks incredibly freaking bad. It's called Play Killer Inn. Killer Inn. It's a game where you're 2 separate teams, the sheep and the wolves, and you pick up random weapons and try to secretly kill each other. It looks terrible. It looks like a murder mystery roguelike, one of the 50 roguelikes they showed today. This looks abysmally bad. Let me actually, here, just for fun, just so I can be a toxic jerk, let's refresh this and let's take a look at the replies. Let's see here. Oh my God, what are we doing here, man? Are you guys serious? Everybody is just basically like, bro, no Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, no Final Fantasy IX Remake, no Kingdom Hearts. This is embarrassing, guys. Be for real. There was a lot of stuff here that just felt like filler at the very best. I mean, Hideo Kojima came out like he always does and says, hey, are you excited for Death Stranding 2? Which I am. Everybody is. But that's about to come out. Why do we need another teaser for a game that reviewers already have? I guess this just feels weird to have another ambiguous, mysterious trailer for the game that's coming out here in 22 days. Like, what are we doing? Okay, now, next up, let's talk games. I want to actually talk about a bunch of different stuff. I pulled up 10 games here that I think actually deserve attention because a lot of the stuff here, honestly, just was too boring to even remember, right? But I was excited about this. This is by the people that did Yacht Club Games, the Shovel Knight people. This is their new game, Mina the Hollower. It kind of looks like a mix of like Zelda. It's top down. They showed some platforming sections. There's a free demo out today. I'll be honest, I already installed that demo. I'm going to play that. This to me looks really good. As a guy who's obsessed with like Game Boy graphics, I kind of like the fact that people are making like basically new Game Boy games. Next up, Project Century. This is super interesting. So this is the Yakuza people, RGG, and I love their stuff a lot. Big fan of Yakuza Like a Dragon. The first trailer they showed took place in 1912. They showed a new trailer today that took place in 1943. Now, I can't tell if they're remaking the game and that it originally was going to take place then and now it's 1943. I think what they're trying to say, though, is that this is going to be a series of vignettes, a bunch of little tiny stories that are all very Yakuza gameplay style, but in different time periods throughout the entirety of the 1900s. That's kind of what I grasped. And to me, this looked crazy good. This might be one of my favorite trailers of the show because I feel like it did a good job of giving me something to chew on, showing combat, showing gameplay, showing voice acting, showing cool music, and then kind of saying, hey, don't you want more? And I do. It wasn't too much. It wasn't too little. Next up, Dying Light the Beast. I kind of have a soft spot for Dying Light, and I like the idea of this, of a guy who is like, the Dying Light world is so destroyed. I've always thought it was cool that Dying Light does such a different style of post-apocalyptic where people lost. Nobody has won. So this guy being partially infected and being like half monster and having to fight the other monsters, that was pretty cool. This trailer and the fact that it's coming out so soon, I'm definitely buying that. Maybe it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I thought it was pretty cool. Okay. Acts of Blood. Okay, they showed a bunch of random indie games, and a lot of them kind of felt, I don't know, off. A lot of them felt incomplete, or I don't know, they didn't really seem like my cup of tea. This one, though, it felt very Sifu. I'm sure we all remember that. It's the super badass martial arts game where you're trying to battle your way through clubs and streets and monks' temples and stuff, and every time you die, you get a year older. This looks like that. This is apparently made by one guy, Acts of Blood. This, I have a soft spot for martial arts. I just think martial arts is cool, but this really, I want to play this. There's certain games that I feel like are too story heavy or games that are too like story light. This does seem to have that nice blend where I can tell that there's some sort of plot going on, some sort of murderous motivation, but I really just want to break some bones. Oh my God, I cannot wait to play that. I wish it wasn't coming out summer 2026. Almost everything they showed today is 2026. What are you going to do? I wish that we saw more stuff coming out this year, but that's kind of the nature of things. They surprise announced a new Scott Pilgrim game, which is genuinely shocking. There seems to be this revival of retro style games. Like when this initially came out on the Xbox 360 arcade, it was already very much evoking that classic Turtles in Time aesthetic. But it's cool to me to see that that style is still very much treasured. It feels like a lot of people still care about that. It's cool that the new game, I'm glad they didn't try to update it or change it too much. It's nice that they're giving us a sequel to that game that was already sort of like a fan sequel. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm definitely playing it. That's what I'm saying, is that I'm super excited for Scott Pilgrim. I have to watch the second season of the show, or the new show. I haven't watched the show yet. Oh yeah, Liza P Overture got shadow dropped. The internet was very much like, wait, that's insane. If you didn't play Liza P, pretty much everybody that plays Souls-likes, people said that this is maybe even better than some of what From Software has actually done. This game is a roguelike, but they kept hyping up that the game became so popular and such a high percentile of people that got the game beat it, they wanted to do sort of a prequel, a standalone piece of DLC, and that's Overture. They've been doing teases about it, and everybody was super excited. I'm kind of surprised they did a shadow drop just because it is going to sell like crazy, but I expected them to say out next week, out tomorrow, something like that. A shadow drop is definitely very, very, very surprising. Okay, I made a video yesterday that went kind of viral talking about why I didn't like Mario Kart World. I just don't think the game's very fun. I think a lot of the new items kind of suck. And maybe something about this is more my style. But there's about to be another Sonic racing game. Some of the people that played the beta, apparently the beta was pretty bad. Apparently the people who have been playing this publicly have said it's not great. I'm curious about it though, because right now I am in a phase where, since I don't have a Mario Kart to grind, I'm curious if this is good. They showed a bunch of tracks. They showed that Minecraft is going to be in this, but also the dude from Yakuza, Hatsune Miku, Joker from Persona. Cross Worlds looks pretty fun. Maybe it's going to absolutely suck, but if it sucks, at least it'll suck in an interesting way. That's always been my thought about every single Sonic game, is when they're bad, at least they're interesting bad, right? Okay, 5 games left. Oh yeah, oh god. Remember when Game of Thrones was a thing? It's crazy to think that it's been, God, what? It's been 5 years since the show ended like a wet fart in a shopping mall. I mean, so bad. And ever since then, we've seen companies attempting to do a proper Game of Thrones game. And most of them have been free-to-play mobile garbage. I mean, straight up hot trash on a summer day. This, at least, is interesting. They said that this is actually going to be a tactical real-time strategy game. So they didn't show gameplay, they just showed a trailer, but it showed the Night King killing Jon Snow. It showed alternate events. What if the dragons that lived died instead? Stuff that sort of shows alternate paths of the story. I think this is an interesting idea. We'll see how it actually plays. I'm not the biggest real-time strategy fan, mostly because I'm terrible at them, just to be completely honest. I think they're cool, but I'm just so bad at them. I just don't play them very much because it sucks to get bullied by a video game, right? I'm curious about this, though, because I hope it sort of does something that feels like a proper send-off to the show, something that kind of gives us a way to make our own ending better than the abysmally bad real conclusion we got, at least until the final book comes out. Okay, next up, Onimaru Way of the Sword. I'll be honest, I'm tempted to go to Gamescom. A bunch of these games they were talking about today, they said, oh, this will have a demo at Gamescom. Flying to Germany to play games, kind of outside my budget, but I like the idea of it, right? They just keep showing this. Capcom keeps just doing these crazy long trailers for Onimaru. And I feel like that's a sign of just extreme confidence. This game looks so good. I'm a very classic Onimaru fan, but I'll admit that I haven't played them. I played the remasters, but it's one of those things where I'm curious about what comes next. Those games are so fun. They're so fast. I feel like the industry has almost sort of been following in Onimusha's footsteps and making something that's kind of brutal but extremely fun to master. Man, I cannot wait to play this next year. I kind of wish they gave us a release date, even if it was spring, summer, or fall. Okay, next up, this was one of the funniest trailers that seemed to have gotten the biggest fan reaction. It's a puppet boxing game. They said that they somehow invented an engine where they could have real puppets put into the game. So the whole thing looks like a Muppet show, and it had very silly adult humor. This guy is an orphan who's leaving his orphanage to try to win a boxing tournament to get enough money to pay for the orphanage to not be bulldozed. And it looks very funny. But it also just looks cool because it is a puppet game engine. I think this is the kind of gimmick that I do like because it stands out. It's not just another pixel game. It's not just another battle royale. It's not just another looter shooter. This is the kind of stuff that I appreciate because it is very, very bold. Okay, next up, we got 2 games left. What do we got here? Mafia The Old Country got another trailer. Still looks fantastic. I'm still excited about this because this game is only $50. I am really not liking the idea of games becoming $80. I think that there should be a new style of game, something like this, where they said, this is an open world, it has dedicated missions that are dedicated objectives, there's collectibles and replayability, but it is an A to B to C game. It's a tight story, you're going to love it, you'll get your $50 worth. And I wish that more games would do that, right? I wish that there was this new style of games that's not trying to be an $80 interactive movie. Just give me a good game, a good story, and a good time. And I'll be happy. I want to see more stuff like this. I was happy to see that show up. Okay, what do we have as the last slide? Oh yeah, Atomic Heart 2. Wowzers. I liked Atomic Heart 1 a lot. But it's also interesting that they're doing a sequel. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but they have to say that it's a different universe because things ended very conclusively in the main game. So this is crazy that they're bringing it back and sort of just messing up the whole universe in a different way from the first game. They also announced an MMORPG called The Cube. That also looks pretty good. This is the kind of modern success stories that I feel like we're seeing less and less, where their first game, Atomic Heart, sold like crazy. Made by a tiny studio with a very clear, good art direction, it sold clearly like 10 times more than they ever expected. So what did they immediately do? All right, let's dump it into a sequel. Let's dump it into a side project. Let's actually just make our next thing even crazier than the original. I kind of like that. I feel like there's just so many games that flop that I like a game that, even if it's not everybody's cup of tea, it was cool to me to see it come out and show up and kick ass. Overall, I think the problem with Summer Games Fest is it's just too damn long. Even shorten it by 30 minutes. Make it 90 minutes instead of 2 hours. I know Jeff Keighley wants those expensive advertising dollars because everybody is paying to be in the show, but I just think it's way too long. I think especially, man, if this thing was 45 minutes long and it was only the good trailers, this would have been a 10 out of 10. Both all the filler, all the commercials, all the random stuff. I would say that I would give it an 8. And I'll be honest, about 4 of that points is because of Resident Evil 9. But what do you think about it? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. Resident Evil 9, I cannot get over it.